guys, so this is for figure drawing class. We're going to go over your supplies. I'm going to do my best to show you what they do, but basically a lot of the things on the list are for you to kind of play with and get used to and decide which supplies that you like best and what you like to work with. So I'm going to go through the list and tell you which ones you really need to have for the class, and then other things that maybe you can hold off on or not buy at all, but again, I do encourage experimentation. So according to the list, the first thing you need is an 18 by 24 white or cream / buff drawing paper. So this is what I have, just to show you as an example. This is probably something that you'll be getting in your packet, so whatever's in your packet is good for the class. Obviously yours will be bigger than this. Second is assorted drawing or printmaking papers. Some white, some tone, there's some details there. Basically these are for you to kind of experiment with on different kinds of papers rather than just this kind of paper, the standard drawing pad paper. So you're more than welcome to go ahead and get some of those papers and go ahead and start playing with them as we're doing little tasks and small assignments in the classroom. But your final project, you will be required to use some kind of different kind of paper. So it's a good idea to go ahead and get a few of those just to play around with throughout the semester here and there. All right, sketchbook, of course you will need a sketchbook. It says at least 4 by 6. So I would encourage you to get something that will fit fairly well in your pocket, or something you can carry along with you so that you can be sketching while you're out doing things and hanging out with your friends. Compressed charcoal, 3 or 4 sticks. So that is this right here. Should be in your packet. You're not going to use this a ton unless you just really like it. So you do need it to try it out, but you can, it's possible that you could probably share this with another student, so you can split the cost. The next thing on the list is black soft pastels, and that's what this is. So I'm going to show you the difference. So with the compressed charcoal, be careful with these because they break very easily. Obviously, I dropped mine. Okay, so this is the compressed charcoal. It's thicker and harder, and what that means is that it's not as powdery, so you don't get as much of a value range, a soft value range from dark to light, as you would with the soft pastel, because the soft pastel is more powdery. So you can see the difference here. This is compressed charcoal. You get a harder, darker line. When it comes to black soft pastel, you get a nice powdery finish. And it might not be, you might not be able to see the difference in this video, but this will give you a stronger, harder line, and this will give you a nice buttery kind of finish, especially once you use it enough on one side. You see how the lines that this was giving is now going away, so that you can get a nice soft finish. Okay, so the next thing is are the graphite pencils. And so I have the kinds that you need here. It says F, HB, 2B, 4B, 6B. What that means is that, again, just like the soft pastel, the graphite in the pencil is actually softer when you're in the B section of what it says on the pencil. So the reason I don't have anything in the H's, which is the other side of the spectrum of graphite pencils, is because that's basically like you're going to be using a mechanical pencil, which you're not gonna, you may get some detail with, and you'll get harder, thinner lines, but when it comes to the figure, you want to capture all of that value and all that fat and that muscle in the skin and what it's doing. And so staying on the softer side of the graphite and the charcoal is going to be your friend. Okay, so this is a 2B, and let's see, this is an HB, which is just a little bit harder and a little bit thinner than a 2B. So you can see what an HB does, and then you can see what a 2B does. Sorry, I have that backwards. Let's see, and then a B, of course, is softer than an HB. See how you get kind of a thicker line? The other thing you can do with these these softer pencils is you can shade on the edge a lot better than if you were using a mechanical pencil, right? Mechanical pencil is just going to give you lines. Okay, so next up, and unfortunately I don't have all of my graphite pencils here with me to show you, so just know that starting with 2B to 6B, they get softer and softer and thicker lead from 2B to 6B. And the same thing goes for the next supply, which is the woodless graphite. So woodless graphite is my personal favorite drawing utensil to use, and the reason for that is you can still get the same kinds of lines that you would get out of the graphite pencils, but since it's completely uncovered graphite on the side, you can use that edge to get a nice soft value range. So you get this, but you can also get this, and depending on how hard you press or how many times you layer, you can get darker and darker. Now, this is an HB, so it's on the thinner side of the graphite spectrum. So if I go to, let's see, ooh, a 9B, which is not on your list, but if you want to try it, it goes up to 12B, I think. So you can see that I use that a good bit. It's one of my favorites. So see how it's still a very light touch, but it's already darker than what that is with the layering. And you can still get, you know, a line, but it's going to be a little bit more soft and thicker. And that's just me lightly shading. If I were to bear down, I can get it darker. If I were to really bear down, I could get it even darker. Or, you know, a soft touch, and then come back against the grain, a soft touch, again against the grain. You can layer up value and get darker and darker and darker. So these are my favorites. Woodless graphite, for me, tends to get the best range of values. All right. Graphite sticks, you do not have to get graphite sticks, that's just on there in case you want to try it. I don't have a graphite stick with me, but I do have this graphite chunk of a pencil. This is not the same as woodless graphite. So basically it will do the same thing as woodless graphite will do, so that's why it's on the list if you want to try it. Basically it comes just like your compressed charcoal, it'll be in a stick like that. Again, it's something that you can use if you want to try it out, but I think that you can still get the same kind of effect using your woodless graphite pencils. Alright, Conte chalks. So these are your Conte chalks. It comes in a pack of these 4 colors. You can get that, or you can get whatever's in the packet. I will say that you really only need the sanguine, the reddish color, because the black is just going to be like a compressed charcoal, but a little more like a crayon, a little waxier. And then the white Conte is never good with graphite because it just mixes and makes it a muddy gray instead of a white. So I would stay, you know, away from getting those. So again, in your packet you can get what's given, or you can, you know, trade out what you really want to have. Let's see, a kneaded eraser. So for those of you who have never seen a kneaded eraser, these are kneaded erasers, and you can see where I've pulled a little bit off of this one because I don't want to waste it and use the whole thing and get it dirty. So I use small pieces at a time. And what's great about this is it's malleable and moldable. And so what I'm doing here is I'm cleaning it. So after you've used it for a very long time, or for enough that it gets dark and dirty and has all that graphite and charcoal on it, you just pull it and all of that graphite and charcoal kind of falls out. So make sure that you do it over a trash can or over the floor at least. And pull it until it's clean again, until it's just that light gray color again. And after a while it will get hard, probably not by the end of your semester, but at some point it will get hard, and at that point, if you can't pull it apart, just throw it out and get a new one. But what's great about this, again, is like I said, it's malleable and moldable. So if I needed to get fine detail eraser, I can pinch it and make it fit like a pencil into a little corner, or whatever detail work I need to do to fix that, to erase what I need. And let's see, next up is your pink pearl eraser. So different from that is this. The reason I have asked you guys to get specifically Pink Pearl is because that's just what I live by. And what's great about it is if you keep one side really nice and sharp, you can use the other side to do whatever it is you need to do to just be an eraser. But if you keep one side, see how it's angled? You have that nice sharp edge. Same thing is with the kneaded eraser, you know, making it so that it can fit into tiny little detailed areas. You can do the same thing with this. And what's great about this is it's the best eraser, the best eraser I've found to get rid of most any kind of drawing media. The thing about the Pink Pearl is you don't want to grind it into your paper because then you're just tearing up your paper. You want to go lightly and erase like that. And also, again, if you keep that nice fresh edge, you can come into something like this and make a nice sharp line. And then you can even use it to draw. Okay, let's see, Masonite drawing board, you guys are going to have that in your packet. Bulldog clips are basically the clips that will help keep your drawing your drawing paper attached to your drawing board. And you need at least 2 of those because I think the drawing board comes with 2 clips. So if you have 4, then you can clip each edge and you're good to go. Or more like this. Let's see, workable fixative. So that is just basically what you'll use to spray onto your drawing when it's finished to keep it nice and pristine and not smudge. The reason workable fixative is best is because you can still go and work back into it, so it's not permanent. Like once you spray it, you can still go back in and work on it. But I still think that it's a good idea not to fix your drawings until you're absolutely sure that you're finished with it. Blending stumps. So these are also called tortillons, which I've never called them that, but they are called blending stumps. And they come in various sizes. This is a packet of all the same size, but I believe the packet you're getting will have various sizes. If not, feel free to pick up a few of them. I think they sell them individually for a few cents. So what's great about these is just like with the kneaded eraser, to erase fine detail, this guy can help you blend in nice fine detail. And you see how I've only used the edge of it? What I typically do is I'll keep one blending stump for my dark blending, and then I'll keep another blending stump for my light blending so that I always, I don't cross-contaminate. And so what's great about this is anything that you're using, look how that just blends. And I'm using a very light touch, and you'll notice that I'm using the edge. I'm not using it as a pencil or a crayon, and I'm not grinding it into my paper. I'm lightly using the edge of it, and I'm blending it out. And what typically works is if you make this kind of motion, this kind of oval motion, small oval motion. It's almost like if you're familiar with waxing a car. They always tell you to wax a car that way because that way you catch every single little part of your car and you don't miss any spots. So this is great for blending anything out you need to blend and making it nice and even. Same thing, you know, that's charcoal. This is your woodless graphite, does the same thing. And again, I am not putting a lot of pressure. I'm not grinding this thing down into my paper. And I'm just paying attention to the places in those little circles that don't have value, and I'll come back in and fill them in. Okay, and last is a chamois cloth. So this is typically either a piece of deer skin or a piece of sheep's skin. And what it does is the same thing as the blending stump does, but less detail. So you can get larger swaths of value, just like that. The issue with it is it picks up your charcoal or your graphite, so it ends up going lighter than it was before. You can see the difference here. Whereas the blending stump tends to be about the same value, maybe a little bit lighter. But this definitely takes up the value more so than the blending stump does. But if you're careful and you see how I'm using it just like I did the blending stump, small circles. I don't know what that is. I think it's a mess up in my paper. But you can see how it blends really, really well. And I'm very light-handed, a very light touch, very even. Okay, so I think that's it for you guys. I hope that this is helpful. But again, the only way that you're really going to understand how these materials and these supplies work is to just use them. So I would encourage you guys to play with them, experiment with them, see what they can do, see what you like about them and what you don't like about them, so that you can kind of figure out what it is that you like to do and how you like to handle your drawings.